Now, for a year on this program, we've focused on and off on the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic, as I've demonstrated many times, how the US Democrats, the broader global left, and therefore, of course, most of the media have been in denial about the possibility the virus leaked accidentally from that Chinese laboratory in Wuhan. The usual suspects on the left were happy to run the Beijing line rather than dare to admit that Donald Trump might have been right about this possibility. All that is changing rapidly, as this US report demonstrates.
U.S. intelligence leaders are seriously exploring the possibility that the COVID-19 pandemic may have begun here, the result of an accident at this virology lab in Wuhan, China. It's part of a fresh investigation ordered by the White House.
Getting to the bottom of the origin of this pandemic will help us understand how to prepare for the next pandemic and the next one.
The president expects a conclusive report within 90 days and says, as of now, there are two leading COVID origin theories, the lab leak and a second scenario long argued by experts, that a human came into contact with an infected animal at a wet market.
I think the most likely mechanism by which SARS-CoV-2 arose was a natural process of transfer from an animal to humans, but it is certainly possible that other options might have occurred.
The accident theory regained traction this week after a U.S. intelligence report found that 3 lab staffers in Wuhan were hospitalized with COVID-like symptoms in November of 2019, though it's not clear they had COVID.
We're 18 months into this pandemic and no one can show where this virus came from.
Biden blamed the lack of clear information in part on his predecessor for failing to get American inspectors into China early. But it was members of the Trump administration who repeatedly said the lab accident theory is credible.
Yeah, this is a big backflip by Joe Biden. And note there how the Americans are keen to hear from the Adelaide expert we've interviewed a number of times. I'll speak to Professor Nikolai Petrovsky again tomorrow. And while I showed you yesterday how our left media, the ABC and 9 newspapers, are finally changing their tune, backflipping on their earlier acceptance of the Beijing line, the digital giants are now allowing for a proper discussion too.
Facebook is lifting its ban on posts that claim COVID-19 was man-made or manufactured. Politico broke the story this morning after speaking with the spokesperson from Facebook.
Sky News' Maddie Hale with that update. How about that? How about they stop censoring now and they start investigating the truth? Now, the one journalist who has led this search for truth on this issue is our own Sharri Markson, reporting for the Daily Telegraph, then for the Australian and for Sky News. She's broken stories on this for a year, and those stories have made waves all around the world. She joins me again live. Sharri, it must be gratifying for you to finally see the rest of the world waking up to this possibility.
Watching the news report that you just played, it's like seeing a news report from an alternate universe. You know, it's been so long that we've been told this is a conspiracy theory. And Chris, as you know, over the past year, all we've said is that this needs to be properly investigated. You know, the truth is we do not know if this is a naturally occurring virus, whether it was a naturally occurring virus that was taken back to a Wuhan lab and accidentally leaked, or whether it's a virus that is a result of deliberate manipulation, gain-of-function research in the laboratory and then leaked. All we've ever said is that this needs to be investigated. Such a sensible, logical proposition, and yet it's only today, you know, some 15, 16 months after the pandemic first broke out, 3.4 million people have died. Only today that President Biden has asked the intelligence community in the United States do a 3-month investigation. You know, I welcome the move, of course, we should all welcome it, but it should have happened a long time ago. How was it dismissed as a conspiracy theory? You know, the intelligence agencies were treating this as a cold case, and that's something I've discovered while I was doing the investigation for my book, which will be out in September, HarperCollins, What Really Happened in Wuhan. People can order it now. It's available for pre-sale. But that was something I uncovered, that intelligence agencies were just treating this like a cold case. And Chris, that's not good enough for everyone who has lost loved ones and family members. You know, we deserve to know the answer to this, the answer to how this pandemic started. It's not it's not above the realms of possibility that we can actually get an answer here. but it seemed like governments were too scared of asking the question of China, of demanding a proper investigation. So let's just hope that finally now we get one.
Yeah, now the point here is, as I've mentioned so many times, this is like the most important story in the world. You've broken these exclusive. It hasn't been speculation. You've reported intelligence findings. You've reported what experts have been saying. You've been reporting facts that lead to certain conclusions. And as you say, you've just pushed that this needs to be chased down. Now, the problem is, politics got caught up in this because Donald Trump mentioned it a couple of times. Therefore, Joe Biden and the left media like the ABC in Australia and CNN in the US all wanted to deny it. The point is now that the actual president, the White House, has backflipped on this, and they're going to try and find out. But in that year, have they blown it? Has the trail gone too cold? China will never, of course, tell us exactly what happened. Do you think the American intelligence agencies do have a chance of actually finding out conclusively?
Yes, absolutely. And this is, I listen to your commentary and your show every night, of course, Chris, and I'm so incredibly grateful for your support when everyone was smashing me personally as a conspiracy theorist. I'm so lucky to have you in my corner. But I do think that we can find the answer here. There's more information coming to light every day. Even in the course of investigating this book, I found out so much new information. There's this team of investigators as well, full-time researchers around the world. They call themselves Drastic. They have uncovered incredible things, and they keep uncovering incredible things every day. One of them, who I'm in contact with, he's in Argentina. His name is Francisco. He just found 8 viruses. He found that there were 8 missing coronaviruses that after RATG13 were the closest genetically to COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. And he found that the Wuhan Institute of Virology had never published the full genome sequences of these viruses. Eventually, that just happened a week ago, but it was after his findings. So I do believe there is so much information, not just in China. There are a lot of people in America and even in Australia who worked closely with the Wuhan Institute of Virology who also might have pieces to this puzzle. The NIH and Fauci knew exactly what was going on. There is a lawsuit that's been launched against them for access to information. But I do think we will be able to get there and find out whether this virus was ultimately a result of gain-of-function experiments at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was just engaging in the most dangerous research in unsafe laboratories.
Fantastic work, Sharri. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.
Sharri Markson there. Yeah, I have been in her corner, but because she's a work colleague, sure, but because I know she's thorough and I know the attacks on her were absolutely deceptive and dishonest, and because she's trying to get to the truth for you. She just wants to find out what happened. Surely we all want to find out what happened. Now even Joe Biden says, whoops, I was wrong last year. Now we'll try and find out what happened. That's what happens when journalists actually keep chasing a yarn. Well done, Sharri Markson. Let's hope we do find out the truth here.